Good afternoon. It's been a while since I made a video, but I felt inspired to make one. So, what is today's video going to be about? Oh, I just knocked over a stack of papers. I've been organizing my files. I got a good strain of marijuana. And so I've been doing a lot of good work lately. Straightening out my life and dusting out my file cabinet, getting that organized. It's always good to do spring cleaning in fall, I guess. That's what I'm doing. So, while we're doing spring cleaning, something that's been on my list for 2 years now is to do some spring cleaning right there in the dunes. What do I mean by spring cleaning? Well, there's been an issue out there. There's been an issue ever since one rainy 3 weeks a couple years ago when that river just split right open. I was encountered by a park ranger out there. And from then on, I started having problems in this county with my dog. Yeah, my Rhodesian. This Rhodesian and that Rhodesian started having problems. And interesting enough, and this is no diss or mar on Caucasians or Anglo-Saxons, but it just happens to be that a lot of people in this county that happen to be Anglo-Saxon have the need to feel that they can dictate and demand and impose their cultural values on everybody else. But some of them I really don't appreciate, meaning their first world problems. They're always trying to Columbus you. What do I mean by Columbus? They were here first. They know what's going on. They came to the country. They came to the United States. The British came over here. The Italians, the Spanish, the Irish. They all came over here. The Europeans. And some of them, a lot of people came over here, like my family, for a better future. Because where they came from, in Africa, in the 60s, there's a lot of turmoil over there. So my family decided to divest everything there and move to Europe and the United States, and we did. Well, I'm quite certain other people had the same historical background or similar. We all come here for the same reason, for freedom. And some of us really appreciate that. Some people don't appreciate it. They don't nurture it. They don't care about it. They take it for granted. They think that they're entitled. I've never felt that way. I've always felt very privileged to live in this country. This country, no matter what anybody says, I still believe, with all its problems and its confusion, it's still a very dynamic country in the world. It's really not for me anymore because in a few years I'm moving away because a lot of people are just fighting with each other for no reason at all. And I want to be among peaceful people. That's why I moved here to the Central Coast. But woe me, was I in for a rude awakening. Anybody that's involved in politics, including the sheriff, he'll let you know. That was a tough race that he won. And it was a tough race for our local race, our county board of supervisors race, Lynn Compton. It was a tough race for a lot of Republicans, and it's a tough race for Democrats too. People here are very polarized with their politics for the most part, not all the way. So when I came here to recover medically. I figure I move to the Central Coast. It's nice. It's peaceful, and it is most of the time. You hear that? That's the Amtrak. So, I moved to Oceano, and Oceano is a lower income neighborhood. That's all I could afford, because I was up to my ears in medical bills, and I've come here to convalesce, so to speak, and retire. But for me, it's not a place for retirement. Me, from where I'm from, had I been from the San Joaquin Valley or or maybe some place like that, I would really appreciate this place a lot better. But I really appreciate the location, and I appreciate a lot of the people. But there's a whole another segment of society here which people don't see because it's a low income neighborhood, and most people aren't very well educated, and people here just they don't care. A lot of people are hooked on alcohol or heroin. There's a big problem here, heroin in Oceano, and methamphetamines. And they become functional drug addicts. Some of these people even have jobs. You go to work and nobody's the wiser. And a lot of these people are also retired here. I can tell you how many functional heroin addicts that are retired above the age of 55 that live in this neighborhood. They live in a house like a normal. I've never been exposed to this problem before, and I think a lot of Americans haven't. I think it's moved itself into suburbia. It's not okay for me because there's a lot of challenges that come with it. So in this neighborhood, we have a lot of problems with crime. So that was my main concern after living here for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in about 6 months, 7 months. Well, I'm not impressed. Now, that being said, if I lived in Morro Bay or another area or Cayucas in the North County, hell, I'd be happy because they don't have nearly the problems we have with crime that's related to drugs. Now, that being said, this I'm very serious about. We've had a problem, and I mean we as a community, Oceano has had a very, very bad problem with people living in the nature preserve. And why is that an issue? Daisy, stop it! Why is that an issue? Because that gives them a place of refuge where they not only destroy the nature preserve, I mean, they're literally destroying it, chopping down trees, digging holes, they're destroying all the nature over there. Then all the trash they leave behind, and the needles, people walk through there still. The brave ones, needles everywhere. It's a biological and ecological disaster. They've made it. And this has been going on for years. And the sheriff has probably torn his hair out over this area. And me being an expert in this type of issue, I have military experience and I have a background. I used to write training manuals. I know what it is to manage real estate. You cannot control real estate, but you can manage it. And I'm saying this right now. And this is no ding on Sheriff Ian Parkinson or the Park Service. I think people really haven't articulated the issue out there in this detail. What's happening is the residents here. You can go in my development when they first moved here. This is a newer development. They built it in 2014. And they sold us people, educated and affluent people, moved to Oceano. This is an up-and-coming place, and, that's what we were sold on. But woe us. Woe us. That is not what happened. What happened was, over the course of the years, back and forth, it's like seasonal. What happens is in the summer, the nature preserve swells up with this whole new lifestyle of people. There's people living out there that aren't even on drugs. There's people that are just living out there because it's free. But in the meantime, they're destroying the nature preserve because they bring trash in there and they don't remove it. And chop down trees for firewood. I'm not kidding. And leave mattresses out there. They literally bring furniture out there. You can go over there, and the sheriff has done this several times. They build structures out there. So the problem is here, and I have a map from Mr. Guyton, Harold Guyton. He used to be the landowner. The Guytons used to own all that property there at one time. And it's my understanding that Mr. Guyton and the other landowners donated that land to the county, which in turn the county donated to the state to manage it. Now, the county still owns land out there. I have a highly detailed map, and it's relatively current, okay, within the last 10 years. So most of that land hasn't changed ownership. So there's a lot of parcels of land. There's individual owners out there. I know a few of the individual owners. They are concerned. I know Linda Austin. She is very concerned because what happens is they come on her land and they trash it because she owns a large parcel. Their family owns a large parcel of that land, and there are other people out there. Now, the Guyton family, and there's other like I don't want to mention any other names, okay? But there's other families out here that own land, and their land is being trashed. Not only that, county land is being trashed. Not only that, state park land, the ones that we entrusted to manage that, and this is why I'm placing the onus more on the Park Service than anyone else, because I know from speaking to people, the people that actually donated this land years ago for the county and the state to manage, they're doing a very poor job because now the residents of Oceano are being victimized because the Park Service, and to a lesser extent the Sheriff's Department, has failed to manage that piece of property. So what happens? These people have a place of refuge. They bring all the trash in there. They do drugs over there. They make drugs over there. They sell drugs out there. They fight. They get in knife fights and all this other stuff. I have videos, years of videos that I've shown you. They're literally, it's like Lord of the Flies every year out there. They have different camps and different factions. And this is getting out of hand. Something needs to be done with it. Okay? So I think I should have a right to walk from my home on Beach Street to the beach that I fought for. Okay, I'm a disabled veteran, without being accosted or being exposed to people that are doing drugs or trying to intimidate you. I should be able to, and the rest of the neighbors out here, most of the people are low income. Nature is our way to decompress, and they're destroying the whole ecosystem. The whole reason why most of us moved out here is so we could walk to the beach. Not Avila Beach, not Morro Bay, not any of the other these beaches. We can't, those beaches are all safe, much more safer than here. You don't see people like that. The level of people that are living out here. And there's criminals. There are felons out here. The sheriff knows it. They are. I'm not blaming the sheriff. The sheriff is doing a very good job. Maybe there should be another joint task force, but this has to be managed continuously. This issue. I don't know what the right answer is. I've made suggestions. Let's put a dog park right out there in the middle of the area. Therefore, you have veterans and disabled people and other people that want to go out and run their dogs because we have no place. We're the only community on the Central Coast. You'll see it everywhere else. We cannot run our dogs on the beach, okay? There's no place for us to run our dogs. We don't have a dog park. We're the only community that doesn't have an off-leash dog park. There's a lot of veterans and elderly people that are disabled, and they have large breed dogs that need exercise, okay? So this was my solution. I'm not saying it's the solution, but there has to be a solution to get these folks out of here, and the ones that need help. You got to understand too, there's people that are living out there that are not doing drugs, and they're getting staph infections, okay? So now it's a public health issue, okay? And a lot of these people out there have mental health issues, obviously, because they're abusing substances. Every substance is under the sun. And let me explain this to you. This has been going on for 50 plus years. It's just gotten to the proportions now that the levels of opioids that have been introduced to our community over the past 5 to 7 years, it's become an epidemic. And now that epidemic over here, that whole, you have to control that real estate. Manage that real estate. And I know how to manage that real estate, and they're failing. The Park Service is failing to manage that and recognize that there's a problem. Okay? I'm getting pretty close to writing the governor a letter. I'm not kidding. I'm going to write the governor a letter because this is so obvious for me, and I shouldn't even have to contact the park director. I put YouTube's on videos on here all the time. They don't watch them. And I'll even email them with links to my videos. Who knows if they watch them? And it's not legal for me. They don't have to address it because that's not a legal form of communications, but I don't give a fuck. If they can't wake up and smell the fucking coffee, it's beyond me. And here's another thing that we have a problem with in this community. Recognizing other people's cultural values and the way they live their lifestyle. Here, this community, and nobody can argue with it, it's a very Stepford community, okay? White Anglo-Saxon, okay? Well, you get hot dogs instead of hummus. I always say that, okay? We want hummus. We don't want hot dogs anymore. So the problem is you have one person's idea, because they're disconnected from the community totally. They're responsible. And you hear these stories day after day, and nothing's being done about it. Why? Because we're not that important to this community. It's obvious. So, I have gathered a few business owners. This is a true story. This is not bullshit. A few of the business owners that have lived here and worked here for many years, people that bring in large amounts of tax revenues and employ many people. I've been speaking to them, and I'm not part of any political group. I'm just a concerned citizen, an individual concerned citizen. I'm tired of us in Oceano being ignored. Our streets are falling apart, which is obvious. Nothing's being done about it. Then Compton, well, that's her responsibility. To her credit, I do know through a source of mine that she has been working on this park issue. So it's not her fault. She's been trying to address it, but we don't have any resources over here. But yet, the County Board of Supervisors find it necessary to give William Randolph Hearst, a dead white man, $5.4 million to fix his fucking pool. When they can't fix this fucking solution out here. We are suffering out here, people. We don't have the same first world problems you do up there in the North County. So I think the problem here is people need a fucking history lesson. So let me give you my perspective on this whole community. Nobody would argue, and if you do, you're an idiot. Nobody would argue the biggest draw for the Central Coast, the biggest draw that brings everyone here, 90% of the people, can be argued, the tourists I'm talking about. They come to the Oceano Dunes to go camping. And all those people that come over here to go camping with their $100,000 setup with their campers, their big trucks, and all those folks from the valley and people from northern and southern California, well-heeled people, they come to camp with their families on the dunes. It's the American fucking way. Camping with your family on the dunes is the fucking best thing you can do here. It is so fucking fantastic. So people come here. I read at one time there was 80,000 people on the beach. That was in the Slow Tribune one weekend. I think that was in 2014 or 2015. It was the first year I moved here. I was shocked. So 80,000 people come here to a beach. Okay. And where do you think those people eat? Get gas. Everywhere else in the county. They go to downtown Slow. They go to Pismo. They took all those places, and they also frequent our restaurants here. We have a few decent restaurants. Efron's, Sylvester's. Those are the well-known ones. But there's also other smaller restaurants that were decent here too. So you have all those people. We're drawing them. Our community of Oceano's drawing them. Our community is providing all the backbreaking services to support this industry of all these people coming here, because where do they camp? They don't fucking stay in 5-star hotels. These are middle-class families. They camp on the beach for $20 a night. Whole family. 5, 10 people. It's the American way. So they come over here to fucking America, yet we don't get the same recognition as the rest of the community. The rest of the community is living off our fucking tax money. We're the fucking draw. And yet our roads are crumbling. You ain't fooling me. Most of you guys that are in office now, I know where you come from. I've done a background search on you. I know what families you come from. You don't impress me. No. Sheriff Ian Parkinson does. Dan Dow a little bit. That comment he made about the Me-Too movement, he should probably keep his mouth shut. So anyway, a Republican like that, don't get involved in national politics. Bad move. Keep it local. Focus on your job, not national politics. Don't get involved in that. Focus on the issue here. So Dan Dow. Where did I get that from? What's that movie called with Al Pacino? And he's in there and he calls Wayne Grow. So I call him Dan Dow. So Dan Dow, are you listening up? All those criminals that come through your court, they're living out here. So now, my idea here is to fucking evict all these people out there. There should not be one fucking person living out there, because it's a public safety issue. Number one, I've pointed that out. It's an ecological issue. It's a cultural issue. I mean, and then you got to realize the folks that are living out there, a lot of them have mental health problems, or they have substance abuse problems, which affect us. But you got to understand something too. Their personal selves. They are suffering from poison ivy, spider bites. It's dangerous. I feel so bad for these people that live out here. They're living out there to hide out. This is not a place to hide out because they can get injured out there. I care about their safety. Even though I don't appreciate what they do, I still care about them as human beings, and I think we should address it like that. And now I talked to a local landowner, and I explained to her what I was going to do to help her out, and she agreed. It's a reasonable thing. We're going to go with a group of people, and I've already went through there already. And we're going to put together a package, and a package of where they can go to find help, like the Homeless Coalition and all these agencies, where they can go to find food, and explain to them. In a little manila package, we're going to stick it in there, and then put up a sign that explains to them they're trespassing, they're on private property, they may not be aware, and if they don't leave, okay, we've taken a picture of their campsite. They may be there, they may not be there. If they're there, we're going to take a picture of them, and we're going to record the grid, the actual grid, the latitude and longitude of their campsite, because that is documented, because you can actually take that grid and you can determine which plot of land it's on. I know how to do that because I'm a surveyor. So once you do that, that's a legal legal demand to remove yourself and your belongings from the property. If you don't, the sheriff at that point, we'll give them 72 hours. At that point, I think that's reasonable. At that point, if they don't do it, we're going to call the sheriff. And we're going to expect the sheriff to go out there because it's private property. Now they're trespassing. So that's how I suggested a landowner do it. She hasn't done it. I'm trying to encourage her to do it. And then I'm going to get the rest of the landowners, because remember, I got the plot map. I know who owns all the plots, and I'm going to contact all the owners. And just think how many owners own land out there. Because they can't build out there. They probably will never be able to build out there. But there's a shitload of plots out there. Go ahead and go out, talk to Public Works, and go get the map and see how many plot owners own land out there. Then I'm going to contact them, and I'm going to explain to them that there's people illegally camping, felons, because I know personally a few of the guys are felons, and I know them by name, and I explain to them. And then they're going to put pressure on the sheriff. We're going to lick this problem one way or the other. And if that doesn't put a fire underneath everybody's ass over here, then I'm going to write a letter to the governor and ask him to bring in, who? Yeah, the National Guard, because this is National Guard type stuff. Because obviously, we can't entrust the State Park Service to manage our state parks. That's according to me, okay? And then you'll find out who I am and my qualifications, and when I write a letter, you'll see how well I articulate it, and then you'll understand the level of dumb fuckery that's going on out there. So the onus, again, is on the park director over here at Pismo, Oceano Dunes. He needs to get off his fucking ass and do something about it. And work with the local sheriff, because this is Sheriff Ian Parkinson. This is a public safety issue. It's in his county. And I'm quite certain he'll work with him. Sheriff Ian Parkinson, he's impressed me lately. So, what impressed me the most, to tell you the truth, is this. Take a look at this guy. I'll tell you what a good... I'll point out the good deputies. I just saw it the other day. Sheriff Ian Parkinson, he has a... Well, I'm not gonna look at it, but Sheriff Ian Parkinson has a sheriff advisory council. So if you go on the webpage and you look, the guy that's standing in the middle, big white guy, the sergeant, he's an honest deputy. He's very intelligent. He's very wise. He's not stupid, like a few of the other ones out here. So, in addition to that, we are also, and this is the biggest thing, people are not aware of what's going on here. There are two, not one, but two. One really bad of a person. There are two rangers that we want disciplined or removed totally from the park because they are a nuisance, a public nuisance. And not only that, they lie. They terrorize not only the residents, they terrorize the actual guests of the park. And what you have to understand is the local business owners that actually do business on the beach. I know them. They have concessions to do it. They're concerned, as well as multiple people in this community of wealth and affluence. And they want this lady spoken to. Her name is 4x4. And we are going to draft a nice letter, and we're going to have a bunch of people sign it. A bunch of influential people, until the park director actually puts her in check and retrains her. I don't think she should be fired. I think she needs help. Mental health help. I think she's been on the job too much. Her attitude is just out of line. There's another one over there too. So we're going to point that out, and we're going to do this the reasonable way from now on. I'm not going to be shouting online. I'm going to be writing letters. And if you don't move, I'm going to call my best friend Peter, and he'll put a fire underneath your ass. Everybody knows my best friend now. By now. I know Sheriff Ian Parkinson does. And Dan Dow will meet him. He'll be a real attorney, quite frankly. So, do you hear me, Dan Dow? There's a public safety issue. So, Dan Dow. So, let me go and get a badge that somebody gave me. I love rubbing it, fucking with you guys. Here we go. Right here. What's that say? Special police. So I'm the special police around here because I'm special, and you're not. Until you figure out how to solve the issue out here with the homeless population accosting us, you're never going to be special. And then we need a dog park. Yeah, we need a dog park for the residents of this community, because I don't want to be driving to Avila Beach every day. Let me share with you what happened today. It happens every fucking day. This is another issue. And this is the last thing that I'm going to bring up. We have an issue in this county with people that do not, residents and tourists and public officials and business owners that do not know how to behave around a service animal. Either they're too nervous, which is us handlers and the patients that use service dogs. Okay, remember, we have a health reason to have this dog. Most people in this community, and I'm just going to say this, and everybody's going to agree, are rural and fucking ignorant. And a guy like me that's not from here has to have a lot of discipline not to say something fucking smart ass. Now, I've encountered people here that don't know the law, the ADA law. You can have a service animal inside of any place the public goes, just as long as it doesn't cause any problems, obviously. You can't poop or pee and bark or be aggressive, which my dog is not. Everybody in the whole damn county that's met it, they fall in love with her. So, because she's not from here. So, they come up, they want to pet my dog. The whole purpose of having a service dog is for us veterans to get out in public. I I had a friend come with me the other day, and she couldn't believe how many people bother me with this animal. And it's not only people, the problem is it's business owners. They don't understand that you do not have to have a vest on your dog. I don't have a vest on my dog Daisy at all anymore. You know why? Because I don't have to have one on. And there's a good reason for that. My dog, my breed, and I don't want to go into a long discussion, but my breed of dog takes her fur, okay, her coat. You see how oily it is? See how beautiful it is? You see this? This is a real dog. See how beautiful an oily coat that is? When she's outside of the home, she rubs it up against the wall and against chairs because that's her nature. And I don't want her to lose that nature. I want to encourage it. Because if she ever gets lost, that's how she finds her way back. So, that being said, a vest, okay, a service dog vest, I probably have a few in there, they grab onto shelves and stuff in grocery stores and stuff like that. So then it becomes problematic, so I don't. So what I normally do is I go in a place a few times, and I may or may not put on the vest if they ask me to. In this particular instance, I was shopping at Vons. And this is not the first time this has happened at Vons. This is the fourth time this has happened, so I'm going to actually sue them in court now for violating my civil rights. The problem is employees and people that interact with public don't know how to behave around service animals, but they don't know what to say. Let me explain it to you. It's very simple. Excuse me, sir, is that a service animal? Yes, it is. Then they can actually ask another question. What service does that provide for you? And you explain to them what service it provides for you. And that's the end of the fucking conversation. Unless there's a problem with your dog misbehaving in the store, that's it. You cannot ask for paperwork, which is illegal. You cannot say, hey, get your dog out of the store. That's illegal. And you cannot turn around and say, oh, you're causing a nuisance. That's why we asked you to leave. No, when you confront them and say, no, you cannot talk to me like that. Here's how you do it. And they explode. Then they use that tactic. Every business is. So what I'm going to do one by one, and it's going to get to the point where I'm going to sue the county because you're responsible for keeping me safe. Yes, you are. And if you can't keep a veteran safe in your county, what does that say about you? Yeah. So I'm going to demand that you educate the public in some way on how to behave, and business owners, how to behave around fucking service animals. Because us veterans, we're sick of this shit. We know how to behave around people. That's why we have this dog, so we can behave accordingly. We only expect the same in return. And believe me, I tolerate a lot. Let me give you one example today, and then we'll stop here. A lady came up to me today and asked me if she could pet my dog. And I said, no, I need to be on my way. She goes, why not? I said, well, because this dog is not here for you. It's a service animal. It's here for me, and I'm on my way. She's here to serve me, and I'm not here to serve you either. I'm very tactful now with people because they get very aggressive. She said a few things before that. I don't want to get in detail because when it gets very nasty. Because people just, they see a dog, they feel like they're entitled, and I'm on my way. That's why have this dog. So she said, well, don't come around here with that fake service dog anymore. And I said, well, this is not a fake service dog, and you should probably go away if you don't like it. Now, we get harassed all the time, and there's a law in the books. And this is the fourth time I've been harassed by somebody in Vons, okay? A manager, not an employee, a manager, okay? So now I'm going to demand that the district attorney, Dan Dow, actually start filing charges, criminal charges, against people that continually harass disabled veterans in the service dog, because there's a law in the books. It's a misdemeanor to interfere with somebody with a service dog. It's on the books, and I expect Dan Dow to start enforcing it, to start send a strong message to protect us veterans against people that don't know how to behave. Because trust me, I've had this dog for 3.5 years now. I'm kind of a pro at this now, and I know what to look for. I'm not one here to claim victim all the time. Oh, I'm a victim.
I let it go for a while. And then I've had enough. And when I have enough, that's when my attorneys come out. And they'll come out too to come serve the county with some papers too, if I'm not protected in this county anymore and taken seriously. I'm not even kidding. It's gotten to this level in this county. I'm going to be able to walk one day to the beach. I'm encumbered by people that are trying to accost me, homeless people. And then when I go to other parts of the town where I go to get food and water, the basic things that you need to survive, I'm not going to be exposed to ignorant fucking people and violent people. I've had water bottles thrown at me. Walking into somebody's store, they throw a water bottle at me and my dog. Because my dog is big and she is kind of scary, but I try to do my best. But people here need to learn how to fucking behave, or they need to go to jail. Because I'm not going to fucking be surprised anymore by this county. Trust me. I'm going to fucking America, no matter if anybody likes it or not. That's right. Go infantry or go home.